Hello again and welcome, listeners, to Shallow Thoughts and Deep Shit. My name is Jefferson Lambert, and I'll be your host for this atrocity as I journey through the mind of a serial misanthrope. You can listen to this podcast for free at Spotify, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Radio Public, and Spotify for podcasters. If you like what you hear, please rate the show, subscribe, and follow. You can also follow the show on Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can join for extra content, new episode notifications, and more. Don't forget, you can interact with each episode and post a comment or ask a question if you so desire. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started, shall we? Orange County Fair Speedway. In a previous episode, I mentioned that I love motorsports, no matter what kind. That's very true. I've been going to the Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York for almost 50 years now. 4 generations of my family have attended the races in Middletown, and I consider the track almost sacred. For all the years since the 1950s, that place has provided my family with a place to go on a Saturday night and forget about life for a while. It's almost hallowed grounds, and I enjoy it very much to this day and consider the drivers and employees there my friends. Orange County Fair Speedway has a very long and rich history. The Speedway was there for the birth of auto racing and was, more importantly, a huge part of the birth of dirt track stock car racing. The empty grass field off Wisner Avenue was plowed into an oval in 1857 for horse racing, 18 years before cars were even invented. President James Buchanan was in office when the track was developed, which predated the Civil War even. Orange County Fair Speedway has been hosting auto racing on Saturday nights since 1919 and is one of the Northeast's premier dirt track speedways. The House of Power was originally built in 1857 to host horse racing at the Orange County Fair, one of the nation's oldest and longest running fairs. The track is located at 239 Wisner Avenue in Middletown, New York. Over the years, many a driver has come to the Orange County Fair Speedway seeking that coveted victory on this historic speedway. Names like Hearn, Schneider, Urich, Cagle, Rudeman, Van Horn, Brown, Strupp, and Hetzler, to name just a small few who have enjoyed success at the famed 5/8 mile dirt track. In the early years, the track ran horses one night and automobiles the next. Not a lot of dirt ovals are still around today that were once prepped with horse manure. On Saturday, August 16th, 1919, the very first automobile race was contested at the Orange County Fair Speedway. The track was then known as the Harry Clay Oval, and before this date, the only thing that raced on its surface were horses. The first automobile race was 20 laps, with James Benedict winning the event by half a car length in his Benedict Special. Benedict pocketed a cool $75 for the win, and then later that day went on to break the record of any half-mile dirt track and did so with a lap of 33.45 seconds. Just 2 days prior to the first race, the horses had raced on the track on Thursday. After the horse race, the track was thoroughly scraped and a special dust layer was laid on the surface. The track was muddy and soft prior to the auto races due to heavy rains in Middletown on Friday, August 15th. Because of this, the competitors were not allowed to run speed tests or hot laps due to the track's condition, and prep work went on right up to the start of the event at 2 p.m. Other names that raced that day were James Oliva, Lewis Hoyt, William Vetter, Renee Goriand, Jay Davison, Frank Bell, William Albertson, Sam Wool, and George Crummy, a local driver from Goshen. Because of these men, we are still enjoying auto racing 104 years later. Unbeknownst to them all, this was the start of something special here in Middletown. Thank you, gentlemen. I started going to the track with my father and older brother in the mid 1970s, and I was immediately hooked for life. I instantly became a fan of dirt track auto racing that's still with me today. We used to come home filthy and deaf, and I'd go to sleep with dreams of one day becoming a driver. I took my daughter there a few times. That made 4 generations of Lamberts attending the races. Over the next 5 decades, I've attended the races on and off and spent many a Saturday night at the Speedway. The drivers became my heroes. They were truly insane, driving at breakneck speeds, always on the edge of disaster, putting their lives on the line for the sport they love. In 2014, I got involved with the track and spent a couple of seasons doing my best to promote the track and the drivers, and I offered my services to the Hard Clay magazine, the track's weekly publication of racing news. I'd never done any sports writing, but I dove into it head first and got extremely involved with it. I wrote race write ups, conducted driver interviews, wrote human interest stories, made driver trading cards, and photographed and videotaped everything that I could. I even started my own website and did research, kept driver statistics, and posted results and lots of other miscellaneous racing information. It was called Jeff Lambert's Dirt Track Racing. I was definitely running on all cylinders back then, and I ran my site like a well oiled machine and spent most of my free time doing it for the love of the sport and the track. I put my heart and soul into it and loved every minute of it. These days, the track's future is not looking good. There's talk of the land being sold and a warehouse being built on the property. Talk of the track's demise has been going on for years, if not decades, and it seems like this time it may actually happen. I wish that I had a say in the matter, but I don't. There are plans in the works that began long ago. If people want to ruin a site that's been around for 166 years, then there's not much I can do about that. I did recently sign a petition on change.org, but petitions aren't going to stop investors with millions of dollars from doing what they want to do, no matter what the cost. There are 4,409 signatures on that petition today. I do hope it makes an impact on the track's future, but only time will tell. They can take away the racing and the track, but they'll never take away my memories. Long live the Orange County Fair Speedway.